when you do right by you, when you build content that you would watch, when you build products that you will use, that you love, you inevitably, you as a byproduct, do what's right by your audience. Omarchi is that. DHH built what he loved and the following came to that and loved it also because it showed through in the work. You cannot build fast enough anymore. And even if you are first to market, they'll just outmarket the shit out of you again. And as we talked about, these hero worshipers, right? You're never going to beat the OpenAI following. You're never going to beat the Anthropic following, and you're never going to get there fast enough. So you might as well build what you love. Hand type it if you want. Build it slow. Use Emacs. Use Vim. Whatever. Because that's the thing they can't take. That's the thing. The je ne sais quoi. That intangible thing that happens a handful of times in your lifetime. Where you're like, this is a product that I really love.
So first of all, we did not plan this, and we'll get to this, but that was a fire Friday, man. It's one of the better Fridays I've had in a long time. But dude,
are you ready to convert?
Are you ready to convert? That's so funny. As I send you a screenshot this morning, and I've got the terminal set up, and I've got Claude in the terminal now, and then I go, now what? Well, we'll get there.
You're gonna.
Anywho, dude, today is we took a big break. You were on vacation last week, but we intentionally took a break because there are things that are more important in the world than recording a podcast. And I'm just happy that you're here and alive and well and here to tell your own story. And I'm not really being funny or anything. Like, I'm happy you're even freaking alive, bro. What happened to you a week ago? 10 days ago.
A week ago. Yeah. I will
on Easter, bro.
On Easter Sunday, which is just surreal.
Never been more appreciative of you, you know?
I've never been more appreciative of the world, and so I'll tell the story.
You should.
So last week I'm going on vacation, and it's going to be from Sunday. So I have Easter dinner at my cousin's house with my family, and everybody's there, and then we're going to upstate New York to stay in an Airbnb, and we're going to spend the whole week just kind of hiking, climbing, being outside. I even told you, like, I had my laptop, but I wasn't even going to. It was one of those vacations I desperately needed. Right. I needed it so bad.
I know, we've been talking about it for weeks, you know.
This is one side of this like AI assisted development. I built more projects probably in the last 3 months than we did in the last year in like 2023, 2024.
Bro, Primogen talked about it. Toxic productivity, man. Like, me too, dude. I'm baked sometimes. I'm just out of my head.
I truly was like ready to. I just didn't want, because here's the funny thing. I find that maybe I'm maybe not moving faster, but I'm building more projects at the same time. And so what's happened is my volume has increased, but my mental exhaustion is very, very real. And it feels like I'm never away from the computer. And like, there's this like push to just like always have an agent. And, I can't say that I'm enjoying it.
Dude. It's almost hype culture too. Like, do you feel like you're missing something by walking away? How many days you pulling up Claude on the phone?
Well, right. Like a customer sends you a quick email and you're like, it'll only take me 2 seconds. It's like death by 1,000 cuts.
Yes.
Anyway, I decide I'm going on vacation. Easter, the highest holy holiday here for us. We go to my family's house, have a great day. The week before, my whole family had the flu, so it was like I was like, again, one of the advantages of AI is like I can actually be like working and running upstairs and trying to take it, giving people Motrin and whatever. Everybody's finally better. We're going on vacation. Everybody's psyched. My kids are psyched. Everybody's psyched. We go to my cousin's house. Dinner's over. We drive to the Airbnb, we pick up food, and get into this Airbnb, and it's a really awesome spot. It's a really super clean little house in Kerhonkson, New York, right on the other side of Minnewaska State Park. It had all like climbing books, like my favorite climbing books, and no television. So the kids were like, what? No TV? And I was like, we're going to be in nature, whatever. We make dinner, and my wife takes the baby to go to put the baby to sleep, and the smoke detector goes off like beep, 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 like three, 4 beeps, and then just stops. So I'm kind of like, what, like she's like, what the hell's going on? I was like, I don't know, and I saw there's these sort of like iron heaters. They're like exposed heaters, and there was like a basket. I said maybe the basket like got too close. There was something on it, maybe some smoke, maybe something from dinner.
Like radiator heating.
Yeah, like radiator heating, exactly. So I moved the thing. The room felt that specific room kind of felt very hot. So I said, let's just bring the baby in, like let's keep the baby in our room, in our bed, and like it's too hot in here. It was weird, dude. I just had like a weird vibe about it. Put the baby, I get the kids finished dinner, they're building their Legos. I said, all right, time for bed. I put the kids to bed, and I hear beep beep one more time. Like again, weird, like one beep on this one smoke detector. There's smoke detectors everywhere, but it's one. And so my wife texts the guy because she's like, it's going to wake the baby up. And who owns the Airbnb, and he goes, there's batteries, it might be the batteries being dead, which I took it off, and on the back it does say it'll beep, once if the batteries are dead, it'll beep 3 times if the unit's going bad. There's like standard signals, so I replace all the batteries in like a bunch of the smoke detectors because I'm just like, all right, let's just replace all the batteries. People go to sleep, my wife's like, come to sleep. I said, I said, I'm just going to sit for a minute. I'm reading one of my favorite books that I found on the shelf because I just didn't feel right going to bed. It's just something told me not to go to sleep. I don't know what. It was just like, it was like a feeling, right? And then I'm sitting there and I'm reading, and I hear very faint beep beep beeping in the background. It sounded like it was coming from another house. So I kind of go to the window, and I'm like, is it? Well, it didn't sound like it was in that. It was super faint enough that if I had gone to sleep, I would not have heard. I wouldn't have woken up for this thing. And I realize it's in the basement. And then I smell gas. And I'm like, everybody up. So my wife, the baby, 2 kids, they're like, oh, I don't want to get. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Get up, get out. They're like, our shoes. I'm like, no shoes. Get out of the house now. Get out, back the car, because I'm not sure if the house has propane. A lot of the houses up there have propane.
Sure.
Your head's not thinking, but I did smell, it was fuel oil, but I don't know if there's also propane in the house. I'm like, call 911, and like I'm like throwing the coats like out the vestibule. I said, get to the road, back the car up to the road. Easy. Firefighter's there in like 2 minutes. He lives up the road, volunteer guy. Right. Yeah, he's like there in 2 minutes. Comes over. He's like, I tell him the story I told you guys. He comes, we walk over closer to the door. He's like, I'm going to close the door because if there's gas, I got to let it build up. And as soon as he walks out, he goes, I smell it. He's like right in front of the house. He's like, I smell it. He's like, but he closes the door. He's like, I'm not going in until the truck comes because I don't have any oxygen. I was like, no worries. He's like, I'm going to walk around the house because there could be a fire. Like it could have been a gas or it could have been a fire. I'm really not sure what's going on, but we hear the smoke detector now because the entrance to the basement is in the garage. And fire truck comes, dudes come in with the mask, goes inside, and I hear it over the radio. They're like, there's a gas leak in here for sure. Firefighter comes over, he goes, they found it. There's a furnace malfunction. We don't know what it is. We're shutting the furnace down. It cannot be turned back on until somebody comes and looks at it. He goes, we're not furnace repair people. He's like, we're going to air the whole house out, open all the doors, open all the windows, open the garage door because it's full of gas. You can't. And I was like, he's like, when we detect the levels are safe, you can go in and get your stuff. You guys could stay here, but you won't have any heat. The guy from the Airbnb is on the phone. He's like, I'm glad you got out, whatever. He's like, anything I can do? I go, just refund me the money. I'm going home.
Yeah,
like
you gotta go.
I was like, I'm doing staycation, too close for comfort. I'm never going to be able to sleep in this house. Like I get everything out. We go home, and you would think that there would be like the disappointment. Like, dude, I'm just laughing.
And escape death, dude.
It was, I cannot tell you this feeling. And so it's like, I get, and like my wife is like, what? And it's like in Fight Club when he's like, you just had a near life experience. Like I just almost lost everything that meant anything to me in this whole world. And I had this feeling like, dude, I would give up the business. I would give up everything, my career, everything, so that they could be safe. I would literally start over in any capacity, like all of these things that I was worried about going into vacation, about the customers, about the business, about finance and money. I was like, dude, my family is safe. I would sleep under a freaking bridge with them. Like I would give up every single thing that I owned for everybody to be alive. that the next day, Monday morning, right? Like I would go home, we get home 2 hours later, it's like get to bed. I wake up and I hear the kids fighting and the baby yelling and the sound of my wife's voice, and it's just like music to my ears. And it is the greatest day of my entire life. That Monday, I could feel like the love of the entire earth. And that's the only way I can describe it, like just absolute and complete and total joy. I think of this line, there's another line from Fight Club when he says, Raymond K. Hessel, your dinner is going to taste better than any meal you've ever eaten, and tomorrow will be the most beautiful day of your life. That's what it felt like. I mean, and then like the neighbors came over and I got everybody Chick-fil-A, like tons of Chick-fil-A. And like, it just felt so good to be around the community. And I feel like God was with me that night. That's just protected me, just told me like, you need to be awake a minute longer. Like, I know you're tired, but there's something about to happen. And it put like every single thing into perspective for me, and it was exactly what I needed. And that glow, I mean, I just lived in that glow. That Monday of just absolute grateful, just absolutely grateful for everything that I have. It's just I can't describe it. And then of course we did the staycation for the week, and it was just super great to just be home. And I did not open the computer. I think I did one thing on
And I
Wednesday.
told you to get off of it.
Yeah. I think I did like one thing on Wednesday, but like realistically, like it felt like it really focused me. And then, I told you it was just in general though, it was a crazy week. And Friday we were at Omacon, and like that was incredible. But yeah, that was the start of my week. That was how I went into last week.
Well, there's two sides, three sides to every story. And since it's you and me on the show today, I'll give you my perspective of what I went through from your experience, right? Like we're lucky, dude. Whatever happens to you, good or bad in your life, is going to impact me, good and bad, in my life, and vice versa. Like we're only as healthy as our weakest link. We're only as rich as our richest friend, and in some reality, this is my reality. 10:45 at night. It's Easter Sunday. It's 10:45 at night, bro. Do you even realize, like, it's the middle of the night, man? Like, we're not kids anymore. We were, like, getting the families to sleep. It's late.
I was ready to go. I was
fully
super
in bed.
tired.
I'm fully in bed. I got my baby sleeping next to me. She sleeps with me in the bed for right now. And you sent a text message to me. First, it's 2 pictures. Blurry as shit. You're just tired. They're just blurry as shit. And all you just see is, like, the lights from fire trucks just ripping. And it took you a minute to send the rest of the context. And I'm like, fuck. The family has a scenario, and it's not unlike the Rispoli family to have an ambulance-related scenario. It's happened quite a few times over the last couple of years. Things from asthma, getting hurt, and like all sorts of stuff. You tell your own stories, and I'm like, what am I looking at here? Like, I know you're away. It's Easter Sunday. Like, what happened? 2 seconds later, you say, "Happy Easter." Just saved everyone's life. No context. I'm like, what am I looking at here? This is a text message. This is the whole text message. What am I looking at here? I'm literally question mark. What am I looking at here? And you go, fire department, furnace malfunction, smelled gas, had to get out. That's it. That's what you said. Fire department,
I know.
furnace,
I was in the
malfunction,
midst of like
smelled gas, had to get out. And I said, your house or the rental house just got everybody to bed, would have been for the last time. And so, dude, like, this conversation is a little bit sporadic. This is happening at like 10:58. Like, you stayed up and told me you were going home for at least the next 45 minutes. You stopped texting me at like 11:15, and 11:40 a.m. Monday, April 6th, you text me and say, air never tasted so sweet as it did today. And so, dude, like, your little story arc about how that's happening, the way you signed off on Easter Eve night was, driving home, we'll be home in 2 hours, there's no way I'm staying here. So in this moment, I'm laying next to my baby. My wife is somewhere either with Kai or downstairs or something, just tidying up the house. And the feeling of gratefulness for you came later. The feeling of, shit, that could be me. The feeling of, well, what do we even do if this actually was real? If that text message was different? If if I'm getting a text message from your dad or your mom, or I'm getting a text message from you and it's a wrinkle on this equation, all three kids and you and Steph are okay. Like, brother, like every possible.
Well, that was very real because like we can handle more gas exposure than like I said that's actually the worst case scenario.
I just went through, you know me, I'm always just like, I'm prepper. So I'm like, worst case scenario, plan for the absolute worst. If you can see it, you can prevent it or at least adapt to it. And just, bro, I went down this crazy mental rabbit hole about all this stuff. What do we do in the business? How do I wake up tomorrow morning? It's Monday. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's Monday morning in like 12 hours. How do I even function in this moment? Like all of this what if scenario, because I knew you were safe. So my brain allowed me to like go travel down this crazy what if force majeure, worst possible scenario that could happen to you. And so what an interesting dynamic between the two of us, because your brain didn't think about any of those stuff. You're just like grateful for your moment, blissful, happy to be alive. Me, I was like, oh my God, I'm happy he's alive, but holy shit, look at all these things that could have happened. And dude, in one little wrinkle of the universe, they all did happen. There was only, I think about like Doctor Strange.
Oh, right.
In the end game, and there's literally a million ways to die. There's only one way to live. You got the one way. And so, man, like what an interesting week of like full on gratitude. I prevented you from working on a few separate occasions last week because I'm like, dude, just revel in your moment. Just remain present. Don't escape to work. It'll take all your joy away. And then we culminate that. I didn't see you the whole week. We didn't record the whole week. We culminated all that with in person. See you in the morning on the Long Island Railroad on the way to a dope ass conference. And like that's how we just like, break the seal. It's how I got to see you again. And it's just the ultimate feeling of gratitude. And what a wild experience. It's not funny at all. And I'm sure there's people watching the show that have said, "Oh, that's
no, but
crazy."
People don't understand. You laugh with joy when something like that like happens and you're safe. And it's so true. Like, I guess because of like the gravity of like when it happens and it's you, it was truly like, I was just like, you can take it all. Like you can take it all. This is what matters right here in this car, the people in my life, the humans in my life. And that just like dovetails so nicely, I think, into the insanity of a week that was happening online. Because I know a lot of you watch this show because you want opinions on business, AI, technology. And last week was a freaking crazy... Dude, let me tell you, if you were on X last week, or on, I want to say on X last week, I think that there was like an eternity's worth of news and stuff happening that all just happens at once, from like the Mythos, I want to call it a debacle, but I think Imogen called it like another contagious AGI or something like that. An AGI pathogen kind of throwing out there. And the world was just in a tailspin and then effectively people had this feeling, and rightly so, not only that all security on the internet was suddenly compromised because Mythos was able to find certain vulnerabilities, which turned out to be an exaggeration. But everybody was like, this is the moment where we, as humans, are irrelevant. And I want to just tie that back into what happened to me because it's really, really, really important that you, as a human, are not replaceable. Here on this planet, you belong here, right? We belong here. This place was crafted for us. And as I'm driving home with my family, and I kind of bring myself back to that moment, none of this other stuff matters because there is nothing you could put on silicon that replaces another human being in this world. There's nothing that you can put on silicon that replaces a human being. Fundamentally, it cannot be done. You lack nothing. You are important. And there's a lot of people out there that have been laid off or that are worried they're going to be laid off, that feel like they're going to be made irrelevant. I'm here to tell you from this, the near life experience, Mike is here to tell you, you belong here. You cannot be made irrelevant. You cannot replace a human. You can give a machine a job. You are more than your job. You are more than your occupation. I am more than a programmer. On that ride home, I would have given up being a programmer for the people in that car. I would throw all the AI out in the whole world if it meant that it was going to remove human purpose. That progress isn't worth it. And I don't think anyone that uses these things on the day-to-day actually believes that they are capable of replacing every human in a company. There are a lot of people marketing that bullshit to you, and they are living with the repercussions of those actions, because the end of the week got pretty dark too. Specifically for Samo. Not cool. Not cool. Cannot resort to violence either. Right? That's like
both ends of the spectrum.
Right. That's like, that is fundamentally, right? Easter Sunday, right? This is fundamentally against what we believe. This is not right. But the fear is real. And I want you to set that aside for a moment, because I think there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel here. But I kind of want that message to be heard. And it's like hitting me in the face on, not Monday, because Monday was like, it was like hitting me in the face on Tuesday, where it's like, you cannot be replaced with a fucking toaster. This is just a machine. This is just a tool. What you do for a living is also just your job. It's just an occupation. We're more than that. And so, kind of coming into Omacon, right? Omachi, one of the things that struck me, and I hope it struck you just being there,
I was fully out of my depth, but I'll talk about my experience because...
Yeah, I would love to hear because for me, I started using Omachi last year, and I switched it, and I immediately fell into it, right? The community, I bought the new computer, I used it, and sometimes you ask me, like, is it better? And I'm like, on some level, I'm like, it's just cooler. I just love it. And what I felt at the conference is you had a group of people that loved computers, but were putting that love into their work. And it shows in the end product. And when we put love into the things that we do and the people that we serve, right? Living this life of service. We talk about this all the time as an agency. Like, my primary job is to serve my customers, and I love living in service to them. And was not blessed with the product sense that allowed me to craft the next great product, but I do service well, and we can put love into those things, and it shows in the people that use those products. And this is where the human difference comes in, because AI can't love, AI can't enjoy, AI cannot care fundamentally about the thing it puts into the world the way that you can. You are required to be in control. A human is required. I hate this talk now about how we're required to be in the loop to supervise. No, we're required to drive. We're required to put the love in order to get it back out of the product we're building. And that's the difference. And we're about to realize what happens when you get a bunch of vapid, soulless products hitting the market. And if, like, Anthropic had replicated Omachi tomorrow, which it could, some guy inside of Anthropic goes, look at how much buzz Omacon. Oh, look at these people. We're going to capture that market. We're going to build the same thing. We're going to wrap it in a fancy case, give it a new name. Nobody would switch, because there's no love in there. It's a money grab. And you can't build things that you don't love that last. And so that's like the next message why like Friday was so great, because you just saw people so passionate about the stuff they were building. And yes, they're using AI to build it, but the love that goes into it comes out in the product. And I love this OS, and I enjoy like sitting at my computer every day using it. It feels good. And you can't get that feeling from just random product that's $10 a month.
Well, we did something recently which I think is along the same vein. And it's ironically a leap ahead in AI. And, we just became investors in Zoe Computer. But what's interesting is, I always say this, we say this all the time, which is we invest in jockeys, not racehorses. And so the founding team of Zoe Computer is so passionately in love with the mission. Is so like humanly focused on making this accessible to everybody, obfuscating the barrier of entry for a technical build, and giving people the power of the cloud machine to just exploit the tool. And so what you're talking about is the tool is nothing without me. It can do things without me, but I had to give it a job and a purpose and a reason and a path in the first place. And sure, maybe like it can help itself and self-heal and self-regulate, but at inception, when you open it up, when I open Zo Computer, when I open Claude in the terminal this morning, it's waiting for me to tell it what to do. And so I found that very interesting. It's for the love of the game, man. And so you asked me my perspective on, and so, man, does it feel really interesting to have been the only true non-technical individual in an entire conference. And what's funny,
well, there's one. There was one other.
One, but he was a decoy and planted there on purpose. So great. Shout out to Joey. You're the man. It was nice to meet you. We'll talk about that story in a minute. But what an interesting perspective, because as I meet people and I'm having conversations and I'm listening to the passion behind the machines that we're using to build this generation of software. This generation of meaningful software is being built by the humans that were in that room. And to see the contagious, palpable energy that they all share together for just tinkering, for the love of the game, for the lifetime of being interested. I mean, every single person in that room could tell you where they were in the late 80s, early 90s with technology and what they were doing and where their passion came from. And that story is so interesting to me because it's not what I was doing in the 80s and 90s. You know, we talk to technologists all the time. They're all talking about, you know, the first computer that they have or the first console for gaming or the first line of code that they wrote. Like, nah, man, my thing was like the first half pipe I dropped into. That's how I spent my time.
Yeah.
Mine was about climbing and the outdoors. And like, you're like me, I wasn't into gaming. I wasn't into computers. Like, we became technologists through a career because we followed opportunity, became passionate about this. But to see that from a bird's eye view, an engineer comes to me, I get to break the ice by saying, I'm not technical. I have no idea why I'm even here. I'm just here to support my best friend and business partner because honestly, Nix runs my world right now, and specifically Omarchi runs my world right now, and I'm just interested. I'm just here to learn,
just cool
to make
people, a great time.
To find. And what's very interesting is that I get myself into conversations with technical people. We're not having a technical conversation. We're just talking about something that we're mutually passionate about. It is the great find your way to something that you can connect over. And when you don't, you go your separate way and find somebody new. And so to me, it's pure joy to be at those types of events. I don't feel competitive. I don't feel like I'm not a fanboy. I don't like chase after anybody that's like public over there. Like, shout out to DHH. We fucking love you here. The universe did not want us to meet, shake hands, and connect, even though he did with pretty much everybody there. That's fine, man. We go to these events, we participate, and whatever flies are supposed to get trapped, that's how we run these types of gigs. And for me, it was such a pleasure to be at such a technical conference about something that's so modern, where it really was not, the topic was not about being technical, it was about being human. And that was like the overarching, I think that's, I hope that's what they wanted us to get out of it, was that like the future is ironically human. The tools are in service to our creativity. And so right. I like kind of fell in love with the talk track. I think that this is like the missing soul of the Apple ecosystem at the moment. It's where we began. It's literally where we began, folks. I'm trying to figure this out. It was for like the love of the craft of the machine. It was for the love of being a technologist and learning how to use technology as your servant. It wasn't like, I want to build $1 billion business with only one person and a team of agents. That will not withstand the test of time.
What kind of goal is that anyway? I said that before I left. I just thought to myself, I also just love working with humans.
Me too, man.
I love like this year when we got the opportunity to hire someone just by luck. They were in my, I had worked with them in the past. They were in my feed. I could tell they were hurting. It was Christmas time and we got a project and I was like, we can hire this person. And they were like, my kids get to have Christmas. That felt freaking great, dude.
He goes, I don't have to look for a job anymore. I said, nah, bro. You're with us.
You're with us. Fuck. Listen, dude, it gave me stress because I knew that project only lasted so long, and you and I had to, we as an agency, we're always trying to push it. We always try and keep people employed for as long as we can. That's, unfortunately, I don't have that VC money that just like pours in and lets me just
It's
run.
unfortunate.
Run
We're kind of deliberate about avoiding that.
No, it is. It turns out to be better because we actually run a better business. But for me, like when I see again that I wish I could employ more people. Like I wish I could. I don't know what it's like. Like when they say that they laid off 30,000 people or something like that. I go, what's it like to have 30,000 people I can't even picture running. This comes back to that. One of the things from Omacon was in DHH's speech where he said, where did we go from making a dent in the universe to needing to own the whole universe? And that's where I feel like we are in a little bit. And we look at these people and I think that you touched on this just now, which is all of these folks that we follow, that we look up to, are really just people, and like they're just awesome to talk to. And I think some folks need a little perspective because you're looking online and we look at the things that like the powerful folks put out into the universe. Your Elon Musks, your Sam Altmans, your Darios, right? These are the big three that like you're seeing all the time. And I kind of bring it all back to this idea of Toby said this in his talk, which was, the world was built by people no smarter than you or I, that AI has now democratized. Like, I hate to tell you, bro, but you're using the terminal, a thing you didn't even know existed, a thing you were afraid of. You're going to learn something, even though you don't realize it. You're going to learn something. You're going to want to pull that thread, right? But there's a world where these folks are out here saying that everybody's cooked, that 50% or 80% of all jobs, AGI is here, this nonsense. Their opinion is not valid. You need to, this is like the No Kings protest, right? Like enough with worshiping these people. They are no better at predicting the future than anyone else is, which just can't happen. The thing I think of this, there's like a worship that's almost going on where these people say something and we let it affect us deeply and we get super worried. It brings up our anxiety. Like these people are gods for what? Because they're richer than you? Because they're smarter than you? Because they built something cooler than you in this moment? Getting back to kind of, humanity here, right? There's a verse in the Bible that goes something like, a camel can no sooner fit through the eye of a needle than a rich man get into the kingdom of heaven. And a lot of people kind of could read that on its nose and say, oh, it says rich people can't get into heaven. No, it's not about that. It's that in the eyes of God, the eyes of the world, a person's money means nothing. This dude's opinion, I encourage us to take this person's opinion and throw it out. Because it is not the only opinion. And it definitely does not mean anything.
Here's the really difficult part of existing today. Not that today is difficult in comparison to where we've come from. In the age of information, like the amount of content that you have to sort through to find education. Like there is one thing for using these mediums to get educated on a topic and to make it your servant. There's another thing to try and weed through the media. And one of the things that's really hard to do is not see the success of all these people, not hear their opinions, not see what they're doing with their free time. Like it's a 7 deadly sins over here, not to make this religious at all, but like you're the envy of that situation.
That's right.
The greed that you anticipate for yourself. The thing that you and I practice all the time and it balances the two of us is we both fall over all the time. The other one stands each other up. And so we may be focused on the cash, good or bad. Like talk about what you had to free your mind of on Monday morning after your near-death experience. Like money doesn't matter, but we focus on it a lot, right?
We attribute people's value based on it in a lot. Like what really makes these folks' opinions carry so much weight? You know what I mean? Like
exactly. What makes their word better than yours? Their cash is bigger. Like, okay, big deal. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're smarter. They are very smart people. Like, let's not take anything away from them. They are very smart people. They are inventors. They surrounded themselves by other humans that were hopefully smarter than they were. let alone get the recognition for it. But I think that's an interesting piece of this, is that everybody that's smart on that team that doesn't classically get the recognition of it, like classic early Apple team, like who do you know? Steve Wozniak. Like who else do you know from that early team of geniuses, right? Maybe some people know a few. Today, you're all famous on X. And so everybody just is hunting the envy and the greed and the surplus of being a thought leader. And so I find this very interesting. It's an absolute rat race, just in like a different way. When we were kids and it was different, there just wasn't all this information. If it didn't make the front page of the Wall Street Journal, it's arguable that it didn't even exist in the world.
And some days you missed the front page.
Yeah, right.
Like people just didn't read it every day. Like
That's right.
You just, oh, I missed that, and it went away, and it didn't matter. Like that's like, think about this, like all this news around Mythos. If you just were in my shoes and just like went all the way to today, the news of Mythos squashed. A bunch of InfoSec people came out. They go, hey, these weren't that crazy of vulnerabilities, blah, 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 blah. I even came out and said, if this guy really wanted to be a good guy about Mythos, he wouldn't have publicly announced this and whipped everyone up into a frenzy. He's always framed as like the good guy. But if he was actually a good guy, the actual good guy would have said, hey, let's privately call these companies, patch the holes, and do this responsibly. No, let's whip everybody into a frenzy. Let's doomer it. Where AGI is here. But if you had missed the whole week, like back in the day, like I just didn't read the Wall Street Journal. I was, just forgot or whatever, New York Times, whatever you were reading. It was over. But you catch everything, every little bite, every sound bite.
Wouldn't that be an interesting experiment? Like for us just to go no social for a month and only read prime newspaper, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. Like,
dude, I've said this. I've said this about AI. I said, I think it's actually going to destroy the internet in a really good way.
In a good way.
In that you will be forced to like only read blogs and publications from people you trust and know, and you will kind of just shut the noise. You're just going to end up shutting the noise out because we're just going to say like, I just can't. I can't do it.
Shout out to you understanding what Dan Prattle's company is all about now.
Yes.
Right? Like the proof of legitimacy, the blockchain oriented proof of legitimacy.
Right, like when you can,
it's no longer the verification check. It's like truly, this is the authority, vouched, recorded,
vouched for some level of authority. Yeah, I think that's going to have to happen. I feel it in myself because you feel yourself get like whipped up emotionally by this stuff, and again, you follow these people because they did this thing, like, oh, they made a great software company, so they must be able to predict the future of humanity. What? Just like, where does that clout come from? And again, on the one hand, you have the kind of Steve Jobs, who was very well regarded, right? Is the world was built by people no smarter than you and I. And then now here we are in 2026, worshiping these people like gods, thinking, oh, they must be so much smarter than me. They're trying to eliminate me. And they're correct about this. Remember, they make money they raise VC money off of this bullshit. They have to say this stuff.
That's right.
You know, and I actually really, again, going back to Zoe Computer, kind of shouting out to Ben during our podcast, his message for everyone was be optimistic. This is the golden age of learning.
Yes.
This tooling can be used one way or the other. We don't have to choose. The whole point of this tooling is to serve humans. If it does not serve us, then we can reject it, and it will get rejected. I hate to tell you this, but Anthropic doesn't have the compute for the models that it's trying to release. None of them do. And you've already seen it in 3 different states, I think now. There's a NIMBY movement, not in my backyard, against data centers.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the president, maybe it was Reagan, who said like nuclear power was supposed to usher in free electricity for all of the world. And NIMBY, not in my backyard, crushed it. We don't really do nuclear power here. Nobody wants those. Chernobyl happened, 3 Mile Island meltdown happened. We've still got the Fukushima in Japan. Like, people just don't want it. And no matter how badly, like, Bill Gates is trying to tell people, like, no, we can make them safe now, it's really not changing people's opinion of it. If people get a bad opinion of AI, you just won't be able to build the data centers in their backyard anymore. That's it. People still have the power over this stuff. We still can choose our future for this stuff. We can still decide. There is nothing inevitable, is what I'm saying. There's nothing inevitable about the decline of people. The point of the stuff is to make our lives better. If it didn't, we're just going to reject it, just like nuclear power was rejected.
You know, on the topic of humans are exceptional, I met a very refreshing ghost this weekend. A ghost. Incredible human. So right here in Oceanside is the Marine Conservation. I don't know if you've been here. It's relatively new. It's reconstructed. It's basically this walk into the marsh. It's on a boardwalk, and it's you'll come into the marsh. Amazing bird watching place, like amazing east facing, like it would be an absolute perfect unobstructed over the Great South Bay sunrise. Incredible. Right here in Oceanside, around the corner. And there's this amazing new structure that they built, which is it's basically just open foot traffic to the public. And it's an educational learning center. There's different microscopes there. There's different things, all sorts of things. There's a horticulture room. There's fossils. There's like all sorts of cool stuff. And in walks this gentleman, this dude, and I guess it was his girlfriend or wife or something like that. And this dude has a camera that must be 30 grand, 50 grand. I don't even know what these types of cameras go for. I'm talking like the most insane telescopic lens that you've ever seen, camouflage setup. Like it looks like the dude is from, what movie am I thinking about? Ben Stiller, The Photographer. Just like you belong in nature.
Walter Mitty. The secret. Yeah. Walter Mitty.
It looks like you should be in the Himalayas trying to photograph the rare snow leopard. And I'm just like, yo, this guy is standing out like a sore thumb. And of course, I go over to him. Kai's right with me. Kai's very social. I walk up to anybody and just say, hi, I'm Kai. This is my dad. It's the greatest icebreaker of all time. And so this dude, first thing I said to him is like, yo, what's your Instagram? That's the first thing I said to him. Yo, what's your Instagram? I just want to see your content. But like, I just said, yo, what's your Instagram? And he goes, nah, I don't have Instagram. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you do with these photos? He's like, I keep them. They're for me. And he was very soft-spoken. We had a substantial conversation. It was pulling teeth out of him, but this is the type of person that he is, just a soft-spoken. He's not revealing, zero ego, does not want to be on a show, like nothing. And so the conversation really talks about like, well, who do you do this for? Turns out that he had a career at the highest possible level in sports photography and nuked that career because of what was happening with the content that he was putting out into the world. Either AI recreation or being used without rights or no royalty associated to it. And like he was alluding to doing this work for the people you hope he does this for, the X Games, Red Bull, like the people that you would hope that he is doing this work for. Talk to him a little bit further. I noticed that everything on his rig is all Canon. Canon's right here on Long Island. Canon HQ is right off the expressway. I think it's in Farmingdale or something like that, or Melville, something like that.
Yeah.
Turns out that he left his career. Dude's a ghost. Not on LinkedIn, not on Facebook, zero, nothing. I do what I do. I give him the $2 bill, give him the famous $2 bill, and I say, I'd love to host you one day at Long Island Technologists. You're part of the technology community here. I'd love to have you as a photographer join. You can even talk about the basics of photography. We'll just do something tech related with cameras. He loved the idea. Just loved the human to human idea. And so he rifles through his bag, which looks like a soft guitar case. Like this dude had such a huge amount of gear on him to go and shoot birds or whatever he was doing. Yo, legend. I'm not even kidding. Young dude like us, just legend. So he brings out his card. Only one he had, just like in the depths of his card. Senior Technical Specialist on the Camera Product Planning Team, Imagining Technologies and Communications Group. This dude was out literally just testing the unreleased next generation of mega photography product.
Wow. Totally human, doesn't exist, lives his life completely human. And what I found really interesting and why I wrinkle this back is we went to a conference where only a fraction of those individuals at Omacon give a shit about putting their content into the world. Most are just ingesting.
Most are there. They know who
They're
the
enjoying
celebs are. They're enjoying the ingestion of this content. They don't care about putting anything out there. They're truly doing this for the love of the game. And so people like this are actually the ones that rule the world right now. The true creatives building the next generation of technology, the ones that are not doing it for clout, the ones that are doing it with no ego, they're literally just ghosts pursuing the next thing that's possible. And so that is kind of like what it was like in the 80s and 90s when we were growing up, that all these amazing things are happening in the world, talking technology related, that you can get your hands on. You have no idea who the people are behind all of this. It was expressly human. And so
Yeah,
today,
you didn't
I
have
wonder,
to have fame. Yeah.
that's right. The fame is new because now people just want to go on X. You want to put your ideas out there, and everybody wants recognition and credit. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. It's just something that I notice, and that people are not focused necessarily on.
Well, alternatively, though, I think that some people don't want to do that, but they feel like it's the new resume. Like if you've this is we could do a whole
Totally
show
true.
on this. I'm not
Totally
like
true.
the
We even
hiring
give this advice
process.
sometimes.
It's so inhuman now, the hiring process, that people feel like you're just putting your resume out into the void. And so you have to put this content out there to get noticed by somebody, or to at least have this almost portfolio of content out there. I sympathize with that entirely. It's very hard, especially in tech, to just like do your job and be good at your craft, because you're not just having a resume isn't getting in front of the right people to get hired anymore.
That's true. All about who you know, all about who you're connected with, all about, who your digital family footprint is.
It's a hard, I think it's cool though, because there are still like some of our friends, even I have some film here. Like people are shooting film again. There's a market for kind of like crafts, like the ancient craft, so to speak. So like this, again, always we as humans put love into our work. And I think that ultimately, like, I mean, DHH talked about watches. He did bring up cameras. I got my favorite. I pull it up right now. I've told you, this is a Sony Nex 7. This is the first ever mirrorless camera. And I remember when it first came out, I wanted it so bad. I didn't have the money for it. It was too expensive, but then they made a next gen and I was able to get this gen. And ever since, they never made it like this again. It was made in a pro way. If you notice these two dials, this is like speed and aperture. I loved how lightweight it was. You pop the lens on, but I loved this work this with your thumbs. Kind of. Ever since, though, they replaced it with the classic like green presets dials, and they never made it the same again. So I never bought a new one. People go all the time, why don't you replace that with the better one? And I love.
We shot a movie on that?
We shot a movie on this, yeah. We shot a movie on this. We did all of our early photography on this. I do my family photography, but I love specifically this camera, and it's well over 10 years old now. I mean, I took this thing. I mean, before I got married, I got this camera, so it's definitely over 10 years old. It's again a piece of technology that I love and I have not replaced. And the only one that I've ever looked at that ever like sort of piqued my interest was the Fuji XT series. Has like knobs and dials. They brought that back because people really loved that style. They love that style of camera, especially if you're kind of very into photography and want to get the picture right on the camera.
I mean, dude, this is why we like nothing. That's why we're both considering abandoning the Mac ecosystem for nothing. Shout out
Love the Nothing
we
brand.
Love
Yeah, I love what this is a great example, dude. So product, love put into it. I don't care how they're manufactured. Like this idea too of like the how it's made. Like, oh, everybody cares about if it's made with AI. I go, no, they don't. Actually, no. People care if people care if it's handcrafted. That's what they care about. Nobody's gonna care if it was made with AI. I've always said this even about our website. Like when, like this idea of like being an AI first agency. I go, no. We use it where it's like that's you don't want to like filter down that route of like like talking too much about the how it's made kind of stuff. Again, unless it's handcrafted, made by humans, people don't really care about that. Like that's not going to be a differentiator in the future at all.
Well, how it's made and where it's made and who it's made by, those big arching topics, forget technology. Like we still want to, it still matters how it's made. Hopefully nobody died for it. Hopefully there was no weight.
Right. Well, we like the story.
We like the story.
We like a proper story behind it.
Right.
Like it's why I think like the framework computers are so cool, because you put them together so you feel like a connection to the thing you put together. I mean, I got that old typewriter right here. That's the typewriter. There's something about some of these older things. This is a Canon AE1, right? This is an older felt. Like, man, they don't make stuff like this anymore, dude.
Nope.
They just don't.
Nope.
You know,
it's so funny you bring that up, because I have the new Sony, the Alpha.
Yes.
And I don't love it.
No, you don't. Right. So let's like, I wanted to bring this around, right? Because there is something. There's a light at the end of this tunnel. I told people there was a light at the end of this tunnel, and I got to bring it around, because you highlighted it exactly. You know, when you have a product that you really love, right? You remember those products. You were like, wow, I love that. I got that camera. I'm just like, I love that camera. I was like, I got my old paintball gun. I love that paintball gun. The lime green one back, right? There's the keyboard. There's products that you've bought in your life. The iPod. You brought up the original iPod with the click wheel. Dude, I've never...
I can't wait for this thing.
Dude, I remember that thing, dude.
You know what the sound is.
Yep. All right, so let's all right, so Anthropic does a clone of Lovable today, and everyone goes, Lovable's done. This is the end of product development, because anything that gets any kind of buzz, Anthropic is just going to build it, copy it, and distribute it, right? This is the thing, right? They're just going to take your ideas. And so I go, okay, going back to how this maybe will save us all, how the enshittification of the internet might save real journalism. Because this is where you'll go now. You'll just, at some point, we'll hit a critical mass, a tipping point, and we will reject it, and we're going to go that way. Okay. You have all been told that you need to build faster. You need to use AI or you're going to get left behind. Guess what? Anthropic just told you, even if you get there first, we're still going to fuck you and take it. You can't build, good. You can't build fast enough anymore. So then you might as well build slow.
True.
Build a product that you love. Dude, forget the build in public bullshit. This shit's a pyramid scheme, dude. It's a pyramid scheme, because they build some shit. They get $10,000, $20,000 a month for some period of time. And then immediately they're like selling a course on how to build in public real fast, do all this stuff. Reject that route, because it's fully to me, this is the Amway model. It's a freaking pyramid scheme, right? Just like, oh, buy my course now on building in public. Like, sure, short-lived products. You could build a product that you love and hope. Not really hope, dude. This is, everybody likes to talk about taste nowadays and bring up that book, The Creative Act. Like, oh, I just have really good taste. I don't know anything. That's not the message of the book. The message of his book is, when you do right by you, when you build content that you would watch, when you build products that you will use, that you love, you inevitably, you as a byproduct, do what's right by your audience. Omarchi is that. DHH built what he loved and the following came to that and loved it also, because it showed through in the work. You cannot build fast enough anymore. And even if you are first to market, they'll just outmarket the shit out of you again. And as we talked about, these hero worshippers, right? You're never going to beat the OpenAI following. You're never going to beat the Anthropic following, and you're never going to get there fast enough. So you might as well build what you love. Mm-hmm. Hand type it if you want. Build it slow. Use Emacs. Use Vim. Whatever. Because that's the thing they can't take. That's the thing. The je ne sais quoi. That intangible thing that happens a handful of times in your lifetime, where you're like, this is a product that I really love.
That's a good way to end it. See you, dude.
Good. Peace.